One of my favorite things to do by far is to go in my backyard. I've got a campfire. I bring some of my closest friends over and we talk. Sitting around the fire having the conversation, Dr. Joe Dituri had an accident and he had a brain injury, and so he was sharing kind of what that road was like.
I happened to be driving my 1947 Chevy and I was T-boned. And while I was T-boned, I got knocked unconscious in the car. So here I am, a traumatic brain injury researcher with a traumatic brain injury. On my way to the hospital is when I woke up. I spent the next several months up, down, left, right, trying every single cure for traumatic brain injury, even the ones that I knew. And even the ones that I thought maybe might not work, and just try those. When we were sitting around the fire, we're trying to figure out, how do we move the needle? And that was the whole thing about what are we gonna do next year? We're all just, we're a bunch of thinkers. We're just chatting, figuring out where we're gonna go and what we're gonna do. And it was like, how can we move the needle next year? What's the things that we can do? And I said to myself, I really don't wanna attend another friend's funeral who's in the military, who had a brain injury, who didn't heal. And I wanna do something about it.
In hearing Joe talk about his experiences, it of course touched my heart, but it also touched my soul. That is to say, I care about making meaning in the world. He wanted to do something meaningful, but there's obstacles in the way whenever you try and do something new.
I have people in my life that are very dear friends of mine that have reached out to me in very acute, critical situations that I know that are struggling and on the verge of taking their lives. And anybody that's played professional sports have those people in their lives where they worry about, is that next phone call going to be somebody in distress? There's people suffering, and we can do something about it, and that's what this program is all about, catching it on the front end, really getting in the weeds, and healing somebody, hopefully from a holistic approach.
With a little bit of coordination and a goal and a good story, it's amazing how far we can go. And I think a lot of time these folks that exist in these silos, they don't hear the music to come together with others to accomplish something like this.
My name is Larry Roberts. I was in the U.S. Army from 1988 to 2001. During that time, I was in Fulda, Germany, when the wall between East and West Germany fell. I witnessed somebody trying to cross the border, and they got shot up. Then we went to Desert Shield, Desert Storm, where there was nothing but 10 miles of bodies. It was called the Valley of Death, with the temperatures of 120 degrees and more. So the vultures were pulling eyeballs and body parts, and that affects you big time. With people with PTSD and TBI, you gotta keep going, you gotta keep moving, and otherwise the walls cave in. Before the program, I was having nightmares, waking up about 4 o'clock every morning. Just my mind would just go nuts and wake up and couldn't go back to sleep. Now, I don't have panic attacks anymore. My blood pressure is a whole lot better. Even the doctor doesn't know what happened. It's been at least 30 years since I felt this good. I definitely recommend everybody that has either PTSD or TBI to come to this program. It totally changes your life. I can't explain more in detail other than what I've have, where the blood pressure's gone down, the panic attacks, the sleeping. It's just totally changed my life, and I can't thank Joe and you guys enough for inviting me to come to this.
I was drafted in the first round to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, played 6 years with the Bucs, went to a small stint in the UFL, and then played 2 years with the New York Football Giants, won a Super Bowl in 2011, and retired after 8 long years in the NFL. I think the biggest challenge was buying into the program that it could help me. It didn't take me long to figure out that this was something that I needed. And then it took me 2 weeks to figure out the mental side of it, with the brain tapping and the playing of video games. Doing it consistently, you don't know what it's doing until you go home and you stop losing your keys and you stop misplacing your wallet and you start remembering things. And then all of the things that were talked about at the beginning of the program, like, you know, one analogy was used, like it's like a kink in the water hose. You know, no water can flow through a kinked water hose. What this process is all about is unkinking the water hose. So after 2 weeks in the program, I'm feeling the unkinking of the water hose. Things are flowing, I'm remembering. My temper is being managed with the techniques that I was given. I'm applying the techniques, and I'm like, wow, I wasn't good at all. I wasn't Hercules at all. Like, this is something that can really help me. You have to take care of yourself both in and out, physically and mentally, and this program did it all for me. Last week, my back was hurting, and knees were hurting, and hip, and I'm getting injections in my back because I can barely move and I can't sleep. Well, after 2 weeks in this program, I feel like I can put my cleats on again. What is this? And let me get out here and test the waters and see, hey, can I run? Oh man, 100 yards, I can run. My knees are lifted. Oh, little Mikey, come on, son. Let me push you to greatness. I'm back. Daddy's back.
So what he found is individuals who really need the services, like Larry and Mike, and he put them on a schedule, and then we all coordinated our schedules around this to make this fit for these individuals, to kind of encapsulate all of our gifts into one place to make it a TBI clinic.
First, we do an evaluation a couple of weeks out. Then we have to do EEGs and send off for protocols and so forth and so on. But the point being is that we have this whole long intake process where they understand exactly what's going to happen to them on every day. Because remember, this is an intensive outpatient protocol. So what I need is 28 days of your time.
The starting point for these guys was to, take responsibility for themselves, take a snapshot, be honest, be vulnerable, be completely authentic about where their life is. No shame, no nothing. Like, this is just the facts of the matter. This is where I am on this day.
You're doing hyperbaric oxygen twice a day. You're doing neurofeedback therapy at least 5 times a week. You're doing physical therapy at least once a week, if not more in some cases. Cognitive behavioral therapy at least twice a week.
We did meditation, breath work. We did body work, soft tissue body work, joint mobilization techniques.
I used cognitive behavioral therapy techniques with him. I used reality therapy with him. I used a little bit of Gestalt because he had some things he had to overcome.
Well, sometimes people aren't getting the right amount of sleep. They are not flushing the way they should. So if I can speed up that mechanism and clear out debris, the brain produces debris and proteins daily. It's just a natural process. Well, that needs to be flushed out. Otherwise, it becomes toxic.
This work is helping a person to see what's really behind the scenes running their life. And when they see it and there's this light bulb that goes off, that moment is just magic. And I'm just getting a chill even just telling you about it, because both of these guys, it happened many times over the course of the program where just light bulbs went off and they're like, huh.
You can feel free about talking to anyone about what you're feeling on the inside. If that's suicide, then it's suicide. You have somebody to talk to.
One of the closest people to me in my life was Vincent Jackson. And to think that we were communicating, we have birthdays 10th and the 14th within 4 days of each other, and to be trading text messages with each other within days of our birthdays saying, hey, happy birthday, brother, hope all is well, let's get together, have lunch soon. I had no idea he had just checked himself into a hotel room and was struggling. And so for me, that's truly haunted me. And that's one person too many, they all are.
So Larry, he's on the board of Project Vet Relief, and he's part of the American Legion, and he's out in the community every single weekend. So for him, having that confidence and knowing that he can heal gave him the fortitude and I guess the confidence to step up and say, hey, I'm going to intervene now.
This past weekend, I was at the Heroes Honors Festival in Daytona Speedway with Toby Keith playing. There was 30,000 veterans there. I was able to save at least 3 lives, meaning that I was able to talk them down. One guy didn't believe the systems, the programs that I have, connections. I was able to connect him with Dr. Janelle Royster. They're on site. She took him behind the tent, talked to him, came back. We were able to start the process for getting a service dog for the veteran and got him enrolled in the VA.
It's very humbling. There's no other way to put it. It's just very humbling to see that you were part of a treatment plan and it changed a person's life where they can thrive, not just survive.
It's exactly why we need to do this. Because if he can do that, and he can help a guy, right? Like, oh, now you're making change, right? Now you're changing people. Now you're helping people.